Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and I am so excited to be celebrating 10 years of meaningful conversations with you. As we step into our new primetime hour, it's such an honor to share this exciting new chapter with you. So whether you're starting your day out, headed to work, or listening from wherever you are, this hour is designed to bring you thoughtful dialogue, fresh insight, and inspiring stories so you can make every moment count. So thank you for being here with me today, and let's dive in. We're here today with special guest, Frank Mesa, who's here to share with us the power of daily disciplines. What if the life you've always wanted isn't built around one life-changing decision, but small choices you make every day? Well, our guest is here to share with us just that. Frank Mesa is an executive leader, author, and speaker with over 30 years of experience navigating high-pressure environments and complex human dynamics. He's the author of Alchemy, It's as Easy as ERD, a personal development framework focused on helping individuals recognize behavioral patterns, reclaim clarity, and make more intentional decisions in their lives. So welcome to the show, Frank Mesa.
Thank you, Marianne. I just want to thank you because, in a time now that I believe that so much content really amounts to just noise and theater. You really give, a platform for meaningful conversations. And I just want to thank you and I appreciate you for doing this. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have made my day. My goodness. I mean, I just love talking with you. I'm just so excited that we get to have another conversation, and especially about this. What made you decide to focus on the power of daily disciplines?
Well, it's something that I live. I say that the work that I am committed to and that I share with the world, it's not academic. This is not something I learned in a school or out of a book. It's something I live. And I came from a place where I was at rock bottom, and I really started to build my life back up, one discipline at a time. And now I'm in the best place I've been in my entire life, and it was because of those disciplines and the compounding effect of just the very small little decisions that you make on a daily basis, how they shape your life and how you can really have the life you want if you see it as one tiny little step at a time.
Well, I know you're the author of the breakout book, Alchemy. It's as easy as ERD, where you really outline that. What made you decide to really start focusing on one discipline? What was that turning factor? Was like, okay, I've got to start making changes today.
Yeah, so I now, so the listeners will know, I have a very intense 4-hour morning routine that I don't go without. It's expanded to 4 hours, but it began as really just a couple of minutes in the morning because I was in a place, like I said, I'd hit rock bottom, and I felt like I wasn't really in touch with my reality. I feel like, I was in relationships that were, there's a popular word that's used now is gaslighting, and so I was really questioning my reality, and I felt like I needed something to ground me. And that was journaling. I began with saying, I really just need to write down what my reality is, what's actually going on, so that I can have something to refer to when I start to feel confused or when I start to question whether the conversation I'm having is steeped in the reality that I know happened rather than the one that someone's telling me happened. So I started with journaling, just like, 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, just being quiet, sitting by myself and reflecting on the day before, and that has increased because one discipline inspires another discipline, inspires another, and et cetera and so forth, and it's gotten to the point where now I have all of these little disciplines that shape every aspect of my life so that I feel more in control as opposed to just doing well in one area and other areas falling by the wayside.
Well, isn't that the truth? Because a lot of times people will focus on, okay, so I've got a new morning discipline for my health, but everything else is falling apart. So, how do you
Right.
start integrating these parts that will just fit your whole life?
So I really just became inspired. So I started to see, and that's where my book and the framework that I came up with is ERD. Alchemy, it's as easy as ERD. The ERD stands for evolve, revolve, or devolve. And I really looked at my life and all the areas of my life, and I took an assessment and said, okay, where in my life am I evolving? And that was generally my career. My career was going very well. I was getting promoted. Everything was going well. Then I looked at, where was I revolving? And I realized the revolving was in my relationships. I was having very similar relationships with different faces, but getting the same results. So I realized I was revolving there and I wasn't getting any growth or any advancement. And then I was looking at the other areas of my life, like spirituality and health, and I realized I was devolving in those areas. So I was very unhealthy. I was almost 100 pounds overweight. I was diabetic. I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I really didn't have a grip on my health, which was a recipe for disaster. I'd seen, both of my parents, die of similar complications, and I said, I don't want to go down that path. I want to really change these things. So as I started to journal, then I realized, hey, Frank, you're not in good shape. Why don't you take a walk around the block? And that walk around the block led to maybe I'll pick up and jog to the next light post. And then that became me jogging every day regularly and became a jogger, a runner. And then that turned into, hey, I kind of feel lost spiritually. And I started to, read spiritual materials. So, I read the Bible from cover to cover probably 4 times over the course of the years. I've read the Dhammapada. I've read all kinds of spiritual books that would help me on my spiritual path. And I just started to incorporate things that were making me feel good um, in my routine, so that it's an investment that I make on a daily basis. That the ROI I've gotten as a result has been the best investment I've ever made because, like I said, I'm in the best place I've ever been.
Well, you definitely are. And I know so many people gravitate towards you and work with you to work through getting their lives into such a better place. What is like one of the number one things that people come to you for that they seem to have like limiting beliefs around or repeating patterns?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. It's the pattern repetition. It's not being able to see their own blind spots, and none of us can. It's very difficult to be able to see what you're blind to. So in my case, I always say even the best athletes in the world have coaches because they can't see their own blind spots. So one of the things I do is I help people identify those blind spots, do a full assessment of where they're currently at, and so once you know what's where you're at, and what's actually the case, you can begin to build from there. And I have an app that I use for myself, and I have for others as well. That becomes an assessment tool that they can use to assess where they currently are in different areas of their life, and then it's also an accountability partner. And one of the things I think that becomes very limiting to people is some of the issues that we deal with are very personal, and you don't really necessarily want to share them with other people. So if you can't share them with someone else, then how do you keep yourself on track? Something as losing 10 pounds, that might be something that you have no issue sharing with someone else. But if it's something really personal, you might share it with a therapist. But then, I have an app that's a daily accountability partner that I actually look at on a daily basis, and my clients look at to rate themselves on their performance on the previous day. So, instead of just journaling now, I go into my app and I say, okay, how did I fare on my goals in my health? How did I fare in my goals when it comes to boundaries. Setting strong and having boundaries without guilt, because that was something that I was challenged with, and now I've been able to get a lot stronger in. So there's certain areas that with a tool that becomes an accountability partner, it helps people get over their patterns and get over the areas that they're stuck in.
And if people need additional help, they can reach out to you and book a private session.
Yes, that is correct. I offer private sessions. We can work together to get them in a much better spot, a much better place in their lives. And I will say, the ERD. I just want to get back to that. It is really a tool. It's a filter for all of your decisions. So every decision in your life is going to lead you down one of those three paths. It's not just you can look at your life and say, this is where I'm evolving, revolving, and devolving. But every single micro decision, every single decision that you're making is very important, because those small decisions, right? Like you said, those daily disciplines, those little decisions, they lead you down a path. So whether it's, I'm going to grab a candy bar or an apple, that decision is going to compound over time. And that decision is what ERD helps you see clearly. It gives you consciousness, changes your paradigm around your decision making. Decision making is critical. So again, let's look at the candy bar. If you eat the candy bar, if on the top of your mind you're saying, okay, I'm evolving, revolving, or devolving constantly, if I eat this candy bar, what path am I going down? And when you realize, well, I'm not going to be evolving, but if you do want to evolve that area of your life, then you have cognitive dissonance, right? You say, well, that doesn't make sense, so I'm going to make better decisions. And when you make better decisions, your life turns out to become better as well.
Well, I'm so excited to hear about your app. Where can people go to learn more about it and to download it?
So yeah, my app and website is e-r-d.com. And there you could find links to the book. You can take a couple of assessments for no cost. You could try it out. You could contact me directly. You can look at all my social media accounts. So everything is on e-r-d.com. And the app is very affordable. I made it so that people like myself, when I was at rock bottom, I was struggling financially. I had some issues, so it's less than a cup of coffee a month. It's $1.99. So really, there is no excuse not to get yourself in going in a better direction.
I don't even think you can think of coffee now at that price, So, but
That's right.
what a great way to start investing in yourself without being overwhelmed. Because I think so many people, it's like we've got so much that we're trying to change, especially if we're in a rock bottom place, then it just feels like we could get overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And life doesn't change because of one big decision or one big uh, event. It really changes because of the small little disciplines. And like a good example of that is, on the financial side of things. Generally, they say that most lottery winners they go back to being, pre-lottery, at their pre-lottery financial level. They lose the money. Or a lot of athletes or entertainers that get lots and millions of dollars, and then you wonder, wow, how could they have lost all of this money? Well, it's because it's that big event didn't really change who they were and their decision making and their disciplines to maintain that level of wealth, let's say. So if you don't have the daily disciplines and the decision making to maintain the success, you won't have the success. You won't be able to hold on to the success. So things don't happen in these big events. They really happen in these small little increments. And if you keep your head down and you just focus on the next thing that's ahead of you and really break it down to the decisions, it really makes it easy. I say it's easy. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. But it can be easy if you really just look at it as, I just have to make the next decision and make sure the next decision leads me on the right path.
So the app and the work that you do, I know your book definitely does this. It helps people to then reset their mindset. So then they're starting to build those better, healthier habits.
Yeah, it's a paradigm shift. I say kind of like, if you have a favorite pair of undergarment or sweats or something or socks that have elastic on them, and once that elastic gets pulled to a certain level, it never snaps back. And that's the work that I do. Is I want to expand your consciousness around your thought processes, your decisions, and your disciplines, so that you never think back the same way you did before. You never see life the same way. You always progress, and you always see it as a journey of evolution, as opposed to stuck in a pattern, a loop. Going backwards, checking out, losing ground, or any of those things that people feel disempowered. My work is to really empower people to recognize that they really have the power over their lives to really create the lives they want.
So, what is like one of the biggest misconceptions people have about personal growth and lasting transformation?
I would say that it's an instant fix. Kind of, we live, we called it the microwave generation, where you can do something and it would last, and it has no consequence. Where they can just take a shot, take a pill, uh, have a drink, a supplement, or something, and that's going to fix whatever issue that they have. And that's generally not the case, because it takes work. It takes a different mentality, a different perspective to really invest in yourself and make the effort to improve. Right? It's like I can't just go online or go to the store and buy this magical potion, and it's all of a sudden going to make me and give me the life that I want. It's like it may, but the world that we live in, there's going to be some really bad side effects. I listen to a lot of these medication commercials, and they'll say, oh, somebody's running through a field, happy, and because of the medication, but then they're saying, may cause, a litany of things that are just horrible for you. So um, that's how I see life. It's like there's no quick fixes. Life is, it can be simple, it can be easy. It's just incremental, it's very small. The disciplines, again, they inspire other disciplines, and you can start to improve. But I think the misconception is that somehow you can pay for success and happiness through some kind of magical potion, and I don't think that will ever work.
Well, yeah. And yeah, that's definitely not out there. So, and thank goodness for that, because there's so much reward that we gain from doing the hard work. And it doesn't have to be like, we're trudging through life, but it's something that we're doing every day to make these small shifts for a better us.
Absolutely, 100%. It's not trudging. It actually becomes very rewarding. Like for me, I look forward to my routine so much. I say it's like my armor. The world is a um, very difficult and harsh place. It can be. And if you're not prepared to take on, a lot of the challenges that life throws at you, it could really beat you down. What I say about these daily disciplines is they really prepare you in a way that when you're ready to meet the world, you have your armor on. I call it kind of like my armor. I throw on my armor, and it's like almost anything that comes my way, kind of like Superman had those bullets, they would hit him and they would just fall off of him. That's kind of the way life starts looking like, for you after a while, because you have prepared yourself in such a way that you're ready for anything, whether it's physical, emotional, spiritual, financial. You can really prepare yourself in a way that you're just so powerfully showing up to life, that when you're out in the world, you really have total control of yourself.
So, Frank, what would you say to someone who's really struggling to be consistent? How does that affect their ability to really make a big change in their life?
I would say, the question that I ask myself all the time is, how do you eat an elephant? I ask you, Marianne, how do you eat an elephant?
I'd probably say I'm a vegetarian at that point, but no, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Well,
No, it's they say like one bite at a time.
correct. One bite at a time. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. So small little increments. Don't worry about the big thing. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the next hour. That'll take care of itself. Live in the present. Focus on your decisions and the activities you're doing right now. Because if you're living in the present, you're living in fear. If you're living in the past mentally, you're living in regret. You have to be in the present. And the present is where you have the power to be consistent, because all you have to worry about is this very moment. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. You don't have to worry about the next day. You don't have to worry about anything else but right now. So when I make a decision on what I'm going to have for lunch, that's all I have to worry about. And whether I choose a salad or fast food, that's the only pressure I have right now. It's not to be worry about consistency next week, next month, or the overwhelm of it. It's just really just, what do I have to do right now that's going to get me on the path to evolution, as opposed to anything else. And so I think that's what really makes it digestible and achievable.
So, for folks that are listening and they're like, okay, I'm ready to make a change, I've downloaded the app, I'm ready to start, what would be one thing you would tell them to focus on right now?
I would say do a full assessment of your life, of every aspect of your life. Identify where you're doing really well, because we're not all doing terribly in aspects of our lives, right? There's aspects of our lives that we're doing extremely well, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to take that, and that those are my wins. I stack those wins regularly, and I'm going to try to mirror what I do in the areas that I'm doing very well in, uh, and those areas that I'm not doing very well in. I'm going to adopt those disciplines, those attitudes, and those habits, to start moving in the right direction in the other areas. So I would say, take a full assessment of your entire life, identify where you're doing really well, where you're in a repeating looping pattern, and where you're not doing well at all, and look at those latter two and model them against where you are doing well. And I can certainly help. If you want assistance in that, reach out to me. I have a course that I can run you through. It's called the ERD Guidance System for a Better Life, and you can sign up for the course. You take the course, and we can work at it together, so that you get on your way, and then once you're on your way, it becomes automatic. You develop the habits, and the habits become automatic, and then it's like, there used to be a infomercial back in the day: set it and forget.
Well, and for folks that may have all areas of their life pretty well, doing pretty well, except for one, maybe it's like one area, can they make a private appointment with you just to work on that one area?
Absolutely. Every area is of utmost importance. Life is one indivisible whole, right? It's like, if you're not keeping up in one particular area, that's gonna really weigh on you, right? You know that you can do better, and so I'm happy to help you in anything, whether it's the smallest little adjustment you want to make, or if you're doing really phenomenally in all aspects of your area, but you want to continue to grow and evolve in those areas. Because there's a saying in business, right? Innovate or die. Businesses, they go by the wayside if they don't innovate, if they don't continue to evolve. So us, as well as people, as humans, if we don't continue to evolve, we could get stagnant, and we could lose our edge. So even if you're a very highly functioning person, and you are really, getting it in all areas, there's always room for improvement. Continuous improvement is really, the key here.
Well, Frank, can you share your website with us one more time?
Absolutely, Marianne. It is e-r-d.com. And again, there you'll find a link to my book, You actually get a link to the first interview we had, Marianne. It's on there. The assessment, the app, the social media links, as well as a way to contact me directly through email. So e-r-d.com.
Well, Frank, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you, Marianne. And again, I just want to say you give us an opportunity to have meaningful conversations, and for that, I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you, Frank. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about the power of daily disciplines and your work and book, Alchemy. It's as easy as ERD. Make sure to visit Frank's website at e-r-d.com for more information on his work, to be part of his community, and of course, to download his brand new app. And his book, Alchemy, It's as Easy as ERD, is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie retailers. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.